It's me again. All right, so today I'm going to read a book. I read it every spring, and the Bears sometimes will create their very own book. I challenge all of you to do that. This book is titled Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day. You know those days where you wake up and one thing happens that's kind of not great, and then another thing happens, and then another thing happens. And on those days sometimes are hard and they feel really, really long. So this is about Alexander, who has that kind of day. Author is Judith Viorsk, illustrated by Ray Cruz. Let's hear about Alexander's day. I went to sleep with gum in my mouth, and now there's gum in my hair. And when I got out of bed this morning, I tripped on the skateboard, and by mistake, I dropped my sweater in the sink while the water was running. And I could tell it was going to be a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. Why do you think the illustrator drew these pictures? Because all of them are black and white. Why do you think the illustrator drew them in black and white? Kind of gloomy, huh? You can feel the gloomy, the sad, the icky stuff in the day by being black and white, huh? So that's a really good technique, I thought the illustrator used. At breakfast, Anthony found a Corvette Stingray car kit in his breakfast cereal box, and Nick found a Junior Undercover Agent Cold Ring in his cereal box. But in my cereal box, all I found was cereal. I think I'll move to Australia. In the carpool, Mrs. Gibson let Becky have a seat by the window. Audrey and Elliot, we have an Elliot. This is a different one. Got seats by the window too, and said I was being scrunched. I said I was being smushed. I said if I don't get a seat by the window, I'm going to be car sick, and no one even answered. I could tell it was going to be a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. And if you can, you're going to notice that that sentence is stated a lot. So if you could say it with me, that would be really fun. At school, Mrs. Dickens liked Paul's picture of the sailboat better than my picture of the invisible castle. We have a Paul too. But this one's a different one, huh? At singing time, she said I sang too loud. At counting time, she said I left out 16. Who needs 16? I could tell it was going to be a, get ready, terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. I could tell because Paul said I wasn't his best friend anymore. He said that Philip Parker was his best friend and Albert Moya was his next best friend and I was his third best friend. I hope you sit on a tack, I said to Paul. I hope the next time you get a double-decker strawberry ice cream cone, the ice cream part falls off the cone part and lands in Australia. There were 2 cupcakes in Philip Parker's lunch bag, and Albert got a Hershey bar with almonds, and Paul's mother gave him a piece of jelly roll that had little coconut sprinkles on top. Guess whose mother forgot to put in dessert? It was a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. It's only lunchtime. He still has a whole another half of the day to go. That was it. Because after school, my mom took us to the dentist and Dr. Fields found a cavity just in me. Come back next week and I'll fix it, said Dr. Fields. Next week, I said, I'm going to Australia. On the way downstairs, the elevator door closed on my foot. And while we were waiting for my mom to go get the car, Anthony made me fall where it was muddy. And then I started crying because of the mud. Nick said I was a crybaby. And... ... More coming. While I was punching Nick for saying crybaby, my mom came back with the car and scolded me for being muddy and fighting. Ooh. I am having a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day, I told everybody. No one even answered. So then we went to the shoe store to buy sneakers. Anthony chose white ones with blue stripes. Nick chose red ones with white stripes. I chose blue ones with red stripes, but the man said we're all sold out. They made me buy plain old white ones, but they can't make me wear them. When we picked up my dad at his office, he said I couldn't play with his copying machine, but I forgot. He also said to watch out for the books on his desk, and I was careful as could be except for my elbow. He also said don't fool around with his phone, but I think I caught Australia. My dad said please don't pick him up anymore. It was a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. There were lima beans for dinner, and I hate limas. There's kissing on TV, and I hate kissing. That always makes the kids laugh. Are you giggling at home? I bet you are. My bath was too hot. I got soap in my eyes. My marble went down the drain, and I had to wear my railroad train pajamas. I hate my railroad train pajamas. It's finally bedtime. When I went to bed, Nick took back the pillow he said I could keep, and the Mickey Mouse nightlight burned out, and I bit my tongue. The cat wants to sleep with Anthony, not with me. It has been a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. My mom says some days are like that. Even in Australia. And even in Sacramento. It's going to happen. All right. I hope you enjoyed it and got kind of a kick out of this book. If you feel like you want to share some silly, crazy things that happen on a crazy day that you might have, please journal about it. That would be a lot of fun. Be creative, and it can be fiction. It doesn't have to be real. Okay. Have a good night.